Hey guys, Scarlet Darkwood here. Hope everyone's had a great week. I'm back again, and I want to talk a little bit more about tarot, and I want to share with you why I like it so much as a reader and why you might benefit from it again as a client. Again, I am offering readings on this. You can go to my website, scarletdarkwood.com, and book a reading. You can do it online. I'm also attending a lot of shows. So if you're in the Nashville or surrounding area, you might catch me at a show. So if you get on my community part here on my channel, or you go to Instagram or the Scarlet Mystic page on Facebook, you can see where I'm going to be. But I just kind of wanted to recap, as I've been reading for the past going on a year publicly for people on a regular basis since my certification. I wanted to share again why I like it so much and what I have discovered that really seems to work for people. And I'm going to share some stories with you about some special people I read for. All the clients are special, don't get me wrong on that, but there's three that stand out that you probably want to hear about, what they learned about themselves. So stay tuned, and I will go with why I like to read tarot for people. So again, I like reading tarot because the cards can help you problem solve a situation. If you're stuck and you want to know what direction you want to go, it will tell you. If you want to know whether you should start something right now, it will tell you whether you should or you shouldn't. If something is a no-go, it's going to suggest it. If it's a thumbs up, the cards are going to suggest it. And clients like the way the cards illustrate their situation right in front of them. They may have been aware of it intuitively, maybe they've swept it under the rug, but when you've got a whole pictorial illustration of something right before your eyes, it's kind of hard to dismiss it. And some things are going to hit more than others, some things may not. If you have a reading where it doesn't hit, you probably weren't very clear. So like anything else, when you're manifesting or you're working with spirit, you want to be very clear about what it is you're wanting, even if you're wanting an answer to a question. Because if you're confused and you don't really know, you're not going to get the clearest reading. But having that picture really helps. So I'm going to share some stories about some of my reading experiences that I thought were really special, that stand out in my mind, that you might want to hear about. So last year I did a reading for a really lovely lady. She was a young girl, and she was a death doula. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it's someone who helps a family through the dying process of a loved one. She goes in there, she helps become a sounding board, she helps the person who's dying go peacefully, she helps the family who is grieving, and they have to go through that. And somehow or another, she had run into a situation where she was stuck all of a sudden. It was like she couldn't do it anymore, that something was hanging her up and tripping her up. And so we did a card reading. And as it turned out, she was playing some old tapes in her head about a friend who had said something negative to her, her abilities, things of that nature. And though she had tried to brush it off, she wasn't doing a good job with it. It kept coming back to haunt her. There were also some things that she had some fears about that she had never really pushed forward and tried to understand. And so as we read the cards and we looked at everything, it looked like she needed to address some fears, that perhaps she needed to feel confident and valued at what she did, that she offered a service of value, and that people needed her. I mean, just like somebody needs a midwife or a doctor for having a baby, people really benefit from having someone help them through a death process, because we in Western society tend to shun death. We don't like it very much. So instead of embracing it as part of the process, and maybe not understanding some of the energies of life and death or transition, somebody like her can be very helpful. So as it turned out, we both confirmed that she really needed to pay more attention to her fears and to block those and to get rid of those notions. We also agreed that maybe if she felt like she needed more education, to go and erase all doubt and go get it. whatever she needed, and that would release her from her own fears. And she agreed. And so that was her intent when she left the reading, was to go do that. And so that reading helped her face her own fears and to move forward so that she could do something that she really liked and to find her passion for it again. My next story is about the lady and the devil. So I did a reading near the end of last year for a nice lady, and we did the reading and the devil card came up. Everybody's afraid of the devil card. And really the devil card just lets you know that there's a disconnect from spirit, that you are inversely functioning in a way that's not in tune with spirit. And you'll see the inverted pentagram, which scares to death. You know, everybody gets scared to death when they see that. And really the inverted pentagram just means you're not acting in alignment with spirit. There's a disconnect, or there's a vice or an addiction you have, or something's got you chained and you feel trapped or you can't get loose. And whenever you feel that way, whether there's an addiction or a vice or something that's got you trapped, you're not in alignment with spirit, because with spirit you're confident, you're free, and you feel very clear about your path and what you would like to do or want to do. She and I talked about that devil card, and she said, I don't have the typical addictions like alcohol or drugs or cigarettes or anything like that, but she said, I will say that I do stir up problems in relationships, that I create problems. And I thought, how very insightful. Now, we didn't go into great detail. Sometimes as a reader and at some of these shows, you don't really want to go into great detail there because it's not the best time. They can always, do a reading with you later. But she was able to acknowledge something within herself that she just probably knew, but she didn't want to really think about it. Looking at those cards really addressed it, and she knew it right then and there what her problem was. So that was very insightful for her to see that. And that was pretty big of her to admit that. And I hope that she took that information, and I hope that she moved forward with it and now maybe handles relationships in a more healthy manner. We can get that inverted pentagram and turn it up the way it should be. Now, my last person is someone who was going through a divorce. And this is a young lady I read just a month or so ago. And when we sat down and did her reading, the cards pointed out to her that she was going to have to walk away from something. This lady was going through something problematic in a relationship, and that she most likely would have to walk away. And of course, I always keep Kleenexes at my table, and of course she just burst into tears. And I just told her, I said, but sometimes if it's not serving you, or if the person is not someone who loves you in a way you need to be loved, or can't love you in a healthy manner, it's time to move on. None of us like it. We've all been in those situations, but sometimes you have to just walk away and let it go and go find someone else, maybe remake yourself. So we talked through that, and I pulled a clarifying card for her, and I pulled the Judgment card. And I said, you know what? I said, with this card, Judgment, it's a rebirth. It's like Judgment Day, where you take inventory, you give an accounting of yourself, and it's time to put the old behind you, and it's time to rebirth. That's what Judgment is. Sometimes that can be an unsettling card for people, but it really means just death and rebirth. A lot of the tarot cards suggest that theme throughout, and it's an opportunity to remake yourself, to start a new life. And I said, you probably would be well benefited by looking at yourself, looking at what your skills are, look at some things you would like to do, and prepare yourself and remake yourself a new you, rebirth yourself and go out there and find someone new if this doesn't work out, or remake yourself and do some things you would like to do. Go fulfill your heart's desire. So that was another way that those cards pointed all that out. And I hope she was able to take it to heart and not be so afraid, and to know that she had the power on some things. You don't have power over somebody else, but as much as you may try, something just may not work out for you. but there's always something new around the corner, and you do have the choice to make that path and to do much better and be happier, which you deserve to be happy. So I hope these stories are good illustrations of what kind of reads you can get and what to do about it. If you ever want to book a session with me, I would love to do that with you. We could do it through Zoom. You can get in your cuddle duds or your jammies or something comfortable, settle down with your doggy or your kitty and get some hot cocoa or coffee or tea, and we'll have a good reading. We'll look and see where you need to go next, what you need to do, not do, where you need to start, what you need to stop. We can do all that. So I hope this has been helpful. If anybody has any comments, put them in the question. If you want to get in contact with me, you can get on my website and there's a contact form. So I hope to see you all soon. Talk to you next time.